Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering video. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing of the 2015 core set Deck Builders Toolkit. I didn't get around to doing the unboxing when this was actually released, so we're about 3 to 4 months now down the line, and in some ways that's useful because we're going to get to see how valid this particular product still is and whether or not there are actual items in here which, because of the rotation of standard, has resulted in them being now no longer legal in standard. So we'll get to see just how relevant some of this content is, because in the past one of the criticisms I've had of this is that they've included boosters which only had about a 3 to 4 month shelf life within standard before they were rotating out. Whereas I'd like to see, basically the cards in here to be good for about a year in standard, really. So let's open this up and just see what there is in here. I don't believe the basic contents has changed that much in terms of how many cards you get and how much land you get. But obviously the types of cards and the sets will have changed from last year. So looking at the back, we'll see we have 125 semi-randomized cards, 4 15-card booster packs, 100 basic land, a deck builder's guide with tips about building the best magic decks, magic rules reference card, and a full art reusable card storage card. And we'll see when we open this what they actually mean by semi-randomized. So of course the actual box itself is in effect a cardboard card storage box. This is just filler. Let's just have a look here. So here's our packs of magic cards. So this is the land and the semi-randomized component. And these are our boosters. So currently, when I was shooting this video, so we're into November of it is literally the 1st of November 2014. So what do we have here? So we've got the 2015 core set, which is still legal in standard. We have one from Theros, one from Born of the Gods, and unfortunately one from Dragon's Maze, which is no longer standard legal, but it would be legal in other formats. So I can't see any reason why they couldn't have included Journey into Nyx in this, because it was actually out at the time this box was released. Anyway, we'll open it up, see what we've got. Firstly, I think this might be the first Deck Builders Toolkit where they've done this. They've got the new Star Rules reference card, which really condenses down that old how to play guide. Very, very straightforward now. Just really the parts of the turn and an explanation about the layout of the card and how to tap lands. This insert just explains a little bit about deck building, but also something that's relevant to the semi-randomized component. It gives you suggestions from deck themes, and what you'll find is when we look at the semi-randomized component, we will find a set of, I think it's 10 cards from this particular pool of themes. So you actually get 4 sets of 10 cards each, so that's 40 cards, and one of each of one of these themes. So the themes that we might see could be anything from auras, bestow, minotaurs, counterburn, green-white convoke, blue-red artifacts, black-green graveyard, black devotion, blue-green enters the battlefield, white-blue life gain and red-green monstrosity. Well, that or selection from those themes basically only accounts for 40 cards from that 125 that was mentioned. The remaining cards, and you'll see as we open these up, come from, I don't know whether you'd be quite right to call them staples, but cards that are very typical of each of the 5 colours of Magic. There is also included in this Deck Builders Toolkit cards from M15 which are in the set but are not available from opening boosters. So there's a number of extra cards in each colour that that applies to. And if you've got a guide from the M15 Fat Pack, you'll see at the end of that M15 guide there's a list of all of those cards that fall into that category that are available in Magic product, like this is one, but aren't available in any booster for to crack. So first of all, let's just have a look and see what we can find in here. This looks like this could be part of the land. It's not all the land because this doesn't look like 100 land cards. So basically we have here core set artwork, and if you've seen me unbox the Fat Pack, you'll already be familiar with this artwork. So these are all arranged in order of colour, so we should be able to see the different types of artwork fairly quickly without going through the whole stack in here, because there's normally 4 pieces of artwork per basic land, and then we go back around again to plains. So that's some of our land. Now there's another pack here which contains the rest of the land. I just know by looking at this one, this is the one that contains the themes, because each one is sandwiched by an evolving wilds in this particular one. So let's have a look, see what we've got here. I can also, looking at this, I can see that this particular pack contains the cards that are in M15 but aren't available to you through cracking booster packs, because I can see a rare here. So we've got all of these are actually non-land cards. So I would suspect that forms part of our, like I sort of said, roughly you might want to call them staples, but really they're just cards that are really indicative of the different colours. So classic white cards from, and I suspect they may be mainly from the core set, but equally it's probably they're pulled in from other sets that are current at the time of this set coming out. So there's the rest of the land there. So it's all the same artwork. So let's go through this stack here, because this is our, effectively this stack, these cards will always be the same regardless of how many of these Deck Builders Toolkits you open. So we've got Aegis Angel in white, so I think these are all going to be rare. Hamoti Jin, Nightmare, Shivan Dragon, and Terra Stomper. And then the rest of these are going to be commons and uncommons in each colour. Let me just flick back and I'll look at these properly, seeing as these are actually rares. And this is the first time they've done this with a Deck Builders Toolkit, this particular way of doing it. So Aegis Angel is 4 and 2 white, it's got flying, it's a 5/5. When Aegis Angel enters the battlefield, another target permanent gains indestructible for as long as you control Aegis Angel. Mahomoti Jin is 4 and 2 blue for 5/6. It's got flying, and that's basically its only ability. Nightmare is 5 and a black, and it's a creature nightmare horse. It's got Star as its power and toughness. It has flying, and it gets its power and toughness by the number of swamps you control. So Nightmare's power and toughness are each equal to the number of swamps you control. Shivan Dragon, 4 and 2 red for 5/5. It's got flying. Also, for a cost of red, Shivan Dragon gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And you can invest as much red into Shivan Dragon as you like, or you've got available, and that will obviously increase that. So you know, if you've got 2 red, then that's +1/+0. If you've got 3 red, then that's +3/+0. So it's scalable. And then Terra Stomper, which is 3 colourless, 3 green for an 8/8. Can't be countered, and it also has trample on it. So each of these cards are rare, and they all cost 6 converted mana cost to cast. So now we move on to the different colours. So we've got Aegis Angel, Banishing Light, Last Breath, Inspired Charge, Loyal Pegasus, Divine Verdict. I should have kept an eye on the things. I'm just seeing if there's any Return to Ravnica block or Ravnica blocks snuck in here. Loyal Pegasus, Divine Verdict, 2 of those. Chosen by Heliod, Raise the Alarm, Revoke Existence, Oris Swiftclaw, Eagle of the Watch, Kinsbale's Skirmisher, God's Willing, and moving on to blue, Jace's Ingenuity, Into the Void, Vaporkin, Omen Speaker, Voyage's End, Divination, 2 of those, Pin to the Earth, Cancel, Rise of Eagles, Negates, Frostlinks, Nullify, Cloaked Siren. Moving on to black, Bile Blight, Sengir Vampire, Read the Bones, Covenant of Blood, Walking Corpse, Farika's Curse, Accursed Spirit, Child of Night, Flesh to Dust, Sign in Blood, 2 of those, Mind Rot, Crippling Blight, March of the Returned. And as we've been going through this, I've also noticed that there are also cards within here that also would only be available in the toolkit and wouldn't be available in boosters. Also notice that 2 of each of the colours are uncommons and the rest are commons. Searing Blood, Furnace Whelp, Two-Headed Cerberus, Dragon Mantle, Seismic Strike, Minotaur Skull Cleaver, Lightning Strike, 2 of those, Fall of the Hammer, Bolt of Kiranus, Blade Tusk Boar, Magma Spray, Borderland Marauder, Krenko's Enforcer, and now we move on to the green, Reclamation Sage, Garrix Pack Leader, Time to Feed, Swordwise Centaur, Satyr Wayfinder, Voyaging Satyr, Shaman of Spring, Elvish Mystic, 2 of those. Charging Rhino, Market Festival, Titanic Growth, Centaur Courser, Satyr Grove Dancer, and we also have some artifacts here. We've got Traveller's Amulet, Opaline Unicorn, Tyrant's Machine, Bronze Sable, Fleet Feather Sandals, and Guardian of Miletus. Now the good news in all of that, I don't think I saw anything from the Return to Ravnica block, which is the block that's rotated out now in Standard. So all of those cards would be still currently Standard legal as of the shooting of this video in the beginning of November 2014. So now let's look at the themed pack. This is where we get 4 themes from that list I showed you in that packaging insert. So there's our first Evolving Wild. So we've got Kragma Wallcaller, Ragemonger. So this looks like this is our Minotaur theme. Fellhide Petrifier, Rollick of Abandon, Deathbellow Rider, Deathbellow Raider, Minotaur Skullcleaver, Fellhide Brawler, Flurry of Horns, Flesh to Dust, got some removal, Crippling Blight, our next Evolving Wild, so we move on to our next theme, Spite of Mogis, Spellheart Chimera, Magma Jet, Flame Speaker Adept, Stormcaller of Kiranos. I think this might be our counterbalance, possibly. Prescient Chimera, Mnemonic Wall, Voyage's End, Rise of Eagles, Bolt of Kiranos, and the next Evolving Wilds. Okay, so we have Seraph of the Masses, Sunblade Elf, Overwhelm, Feral Incarnation, Selfless Cathar, Raise the Alarm, Inspired Charge, Siege Worm, so this is our green-white Convoke, Triplicate Spirits, Living Totem, and finally our last Evolving Wilds. So we've got Chariot of Victory, in Soul Artifact. I've got a feeling this could be blue-red artifacts, but we'll see. Juggernaut, Shrapnel Blast, yep. Traveller's Amulet, Opaline Unicorn, Aeronaut Tinkerer, Ornithopter, Lava Axe, Scrapyard Mongrel. So there we have those. Now let's crack our boosters. So I'm going to do them in order in which they came out. We've got Dragon's Maids first. Now of course if this is our only magic product we have, we're going to be looking for things in the booster that are going to complement our themes. And also that other first set of cards we looked at where they were organised by colour. Within there we're also looking for cards that would complement our themes. Rakdos Drake, Viashino First Blade, Mind Static, Mutant's Prey, Sunspy Gatekeepers, Saruli Gatekeepers, All for the Guilds, Crypt Incursion, Deputy of Acquittals, Trostani's Summoner, Putrefy, Profit and Loss, and our rare is Imara Tandris. So we've got a legendary creature, 5 green white for a 5/7, prevent all damage that will be dealt to creature tokens you control. And we also have a foil Phyto Burst, and because it's forgotten already what this is, because it's Dragon's Maze, you also get a guild gate in the pack instead of our regular land. And we've got Theros. So we have a loathsome I can't even say that. Catopulpass, Omen Speaker, March of the Returned, Lightning Strike, Voyage's End, crikey, these are tongue twisters. Setessan Battle Priest, Deathbellow Raider, Benthic Giant, Annul, Travelling Philosopher, Kragma Warcaller, Dissolve, Sealock Monster, another legendary creature. It's a mythic. So these are good pulls if you're into something like EDH. If you're looking for some commanders. 4 white blue for a 4/4 flying. Whenever Midomai, the age of this, deals combat damage to a player, take an extra turn after this one. Midomia, the age of this, can't attack during extra turns. You've got a plains and a soldier. Forsaken Drifters, Excoriate, Scouring Sands, Chorus of the Tides, Fellhide Brawler, Fall of the Hammer, Cyclops of One-Eyed Pass, Crypsis, Culling Mark, A Loyal Pegasus, Archetype of Imagination, Acroan Conscriptor, Sanguimancy, and our rare is Fated Retribution. So it's a 4 colourless 3 white instant. Destroy all creatures and planeswalkers. If it's your turn, scry for 2. The Swamp, and just an advert card. So now our last pack here. Thundering Giant, Heliod's Pilgrim, Siege Worm, Flesh to Dust, Chrono Stutter, Rummaging Goblin, Bronze Sable, Orskost Swiftclaw, Negate, Feast on the Fallen, Cone of Flame, Staff of the Sun Magus, Cruel Sadist is our rare. So this is For 1 black, we get a 1/1 creature human assassin. So for 1 black, we can tap it, pay 1 life, put a 1/1 counter on Cruel Sadist. For 2 and a black, we can tap it and remove X 1/1 counters from Cruel Sadist. Cruel Sadist deals X damage to target creature. We've also got, yeah, that is a full, there's a full Necrobite in here, a swamp, and an advert card. So there we have the contents of my particular Deck Builder's Toolkit. So the bit that changes in it is obviously over time, from what I can remember of opening other Deck Builder's Toolkits, the actual boosters do change, but I don't know when they do it, and you can't really tell by looking at the box, I don't think. But you know, what boosters you get are going to be random. You've also got the semi-random part, which is that's sort of 4 out of how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 11 possible deck themes. And this one we had Counterburn, Green-White Convoke, Blue-Red Artifacts, and the Minotaurs was in there basically. So for a start, if you were using this just on its own to build a deck, then it's already going to be biased towards that. But then the problem is some of the other things won't always complement that particular set. But what I've normally found with these decks is at least one of those 4, there's sufficient cards to build a deck round. The other problem is if you're trying to build a 60 card deck, with the way this Deck Builder's Toolkit's put together, you're going to end up with a singleton deck. In fact, if you build any size deck, you're going to end up with bias towards single cards, because there's not many multiples in this particular toolkit. On previous years, I remember some of the early ones I did. I had like I think a play set of lightning bolts at one point. Obviously, you've got effectively a play set of Evolving Wilds or Terramorphic Expanses or whatever it is in this particular one. And the other thing with this, Evolving Wilds, the other thing with this, one bit of advice I think to give people, and this is how I use it. This particular product now, the way I use it is not really as a Deck Builder's Toolkit. What I've done is I've bought 2 of these. I've had one and a friend's had one. And what we've done is we've played pack wars with each of the boosters, because you've got plenty of land in here, so there's no problem there. And then once we finish doing that, we will build a 40 card deck from the card pool. And then over time, as consecutive sets come out, buy 2 boosters, 1 each, and then add that to your card pool. So you do another pack wars, and then you add that contents of that pack to your card pool, and then try building another deck. So you've got this sort of almost like a pack wars stroke super sealed kit, which keeps evolving over time as new sets come out. And if it's just you and a friend, and that's mainly how you're playing Magic, it's actually a really cost-effective way of playing Magic, and it's very old school. Like sort of back in it harks back to how a lot of early Magic might be played. Anyway, so that's the 2015 Core Set Deck Builders Toolkit. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.